But the big story we are breaking and our continuing focus on that big cash haul at a judge's residence. The three-judge panel has now begun the probe. The panel has visited Justice Yashwant Varma's official residence in the national capital. Remember, it was in the outhouse of the national capital that the currency notes were found, which has set off a storm. This evening, the Rajya Sabha Chairperson and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has held a meeting with floor leaders to discuss whether Parliament should take any steps. Sources say the government is seeking the views of all political parties on the issue, whether there should be, if necessary, impeachment proceedings against the judge if the three-judge inquiry committee finds him guilty. Remember, the heat is mounting on the Delhi High Court judge, Justice Varma. The three-judge panel formed by the Chief Justice of India is investigating the burnt cash haul that was recovered by going to the residence where this happened. Meanwhile, the Allahabad High Court Bar Association has announced it will go on an indefinite strike from today to protest the proposed repatriation of the judge, Justice Varma, to his parent court. And as I said earlier, in a political showdown, Jagdeep Dhankar is now meeting opposition leaders and the leader of the House. We'll look at all those three angles with Abhishek Manu Singhvi, but first take a look at our top story again.
The probe into the alleged cash haul at a Delhi High Court judge's house gathers steam. The three-judge panel appointed by the Chief Justice of India visited Justice Yashwant Varma's residence on Tuesday.
Sources informed India Today that probe committee comprising Chief Justices of Punjab and Haryana High Court, Karnataka High Court and Himachal Pradesh High Court had arrived here, and in fact they spent around 45 minutes inquiring about the incident. In fact, they also recorded statement of Justice Varma and in fact also visited the exact spot or the exact room that had caught fire and where this alleged recovery of burned cash notes was made.
The Supreme Court Collegium has recommended transfer of Justice Yashwant Varma to the Allahabad High Court, but the decision has triggered protest. The Allahabad High Court Bar Association has begun an indefinite strike, raising concerns over allegations of corruption against the judge.
हमारी ये लड़ाई इसलिए हो रही है कि मेरे यहाँ जो हार्ड वर्किंग ऑनेस्ट जजेस हैं, आज उनकी छवि खतरे में पड़ी हुई है। इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट को डंपिंग ग्राउंड समझ लिया है। जो भी होगा उसको आप यहीं करप्शन के चार्ज पे कहीं कोई जज को ट्रांसफर किया किसी डाउट पे, तो इलाहाबाद इज ए हाई कोर्ट वहां ट्रांसफर कर।
Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar called a meeting of floor leaders to discuss the cash haul.
I have scheduled a meeting after seeking convenience at 4:30 p.m. today with the floor leaders as suggested by leader of the opposition and agreed to by leader of the House. I am sure we will have very fruitful interaction and find a way out.
The opposition raised the issue in Parliament.
In-house procedure of the judicial system is concurrent and independent to what Parliament does. And the constitutional procedure with regard to the oversight of judiciary has been laid down very explicitly in the Constitution of India. If the law minister does not make a statement to Parliament, he would be in violation of constitutional propriety.
The cash was recovered on March 14 when a fire broke out at Justice Varma's residence. The Supreme Court later posted videos of burning cash submitted by the Delhi police.
Mr. Justice Yashwant Varma.
Justice Varma, in response to Delhi High Court Chief Justice, dismissed any link to the cash. With Nalini Sharma and Rahul Gautam, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me go to my first guest. He's one of the country's top legal eagles, senior lawyer at the Supreme Court, also senior member of Parliament. Abhishek Manu Singhvi is now joining me. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Singhvi. Parliament also now getting involved. The chairperson of Rajya Sabha meeting political leaders. What do you believe should be done to restore public faith in the higher judiciary, given all that has happened in the last week? Is this three-member panel formed by the Chief Justice enough, or is it only a first step in your view?
Well, I was in the House when the floor leaders left around 4:30 to meet the Honorable Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha in his chamber. Well, the first answer to your question, Rajdeep, is that this is the beginning, and the Chief Justice of India deserves kudos in having started in the right manner, right direction, right momentum. Had he not done so, all of us would be in reverse, highly critical of him. So certainly it may not be enough. It is a necessary but not a sufficient condition. An inquiry in the manner promptly done, a transparency quotient which is extremely high in the last few days, and in fact uncharacteristically so in many Supreme Court prior proceedings. And that part I have nothing to fault on. Number two, I think we should not mix up the transfer part, because I think that's largely inconsequential. Quite frankly,
no, how is it Dr. Singhvi, I'm sorry to interrupt. How is that inconsequential? You see, that's the fear. That's the fear, that you're transferring a judge almost as if you're seen either to be protecting him in some manner or not willing to take tougher action.
Let me tell you why I use the word inconsequential. I use it in the current context. Look, a judge, Justice Varma, who actually, by most accounts, and I don't know him otherwise, I've appeared before him, is considered one of the best judges of Delhi High Court, cannot possibly have any authority to discharge his functions from the bench, whether he sits here or in Allahabad. So really, he'd be neither functioning as a judge here nor functioning there. So in that sense, I said that the issue of transfer is temporarily inconsequential. He won't be sitting, he won't be exercising any authority, judicial authority. But what is important is that the Chief Justice did the right thing and very promptly, but it is certainly not a sufficient condition. The inquiry must be concluded promptly within reasonable time. But equally, I am very careful in saying that the inquiry must follow a reasonable due process. Don't damn and don't hang without due process, because there are many, many disturbing questions I have also on the side. And
what are those disturbing? Dr. Singhvi, what are the disturbing questions? Because yesterday I had Mukul Rohtgi on the show who raised serious question. Where is the police panchnama? What does the income tax have to say? Is the currency genuine, fake? What are your disturbing questions?
See, I didn't speak on this for the last few days because frankly I was hesitant. I don't quite like the idea of kind of being seen as rubbing my hands in glee at somebody's discomfiture. But now that things have settled down, I thought I would speak. And the committee should take care that when they proceed further in whatever manner, they should not make it an irreversible stigma on the judge in case he comes out clean. That's important. Now, the disturbing questions are obvious. One, we have been in social media and elsewhere hearing figures from 5 to 15 to 50. Somebody mentioned the other day 700. Where is a small part of it? Question number one. You cannot say that burnt notes which you see on videos are cash of so-and-so amount. Also, obviously, there is a direct contradiction on other questions, whether the daughter and the guard telephoned or only the guard telephoned is relatively minor. But there is a direct 180-degree opposition on the issue of locked or open, access to all or access to none. Now, that is something which must be sorted out by reference to CCTVs. Just note one thing, Rajdeep. It would be very absurd, if it is locked, then you break it. Even if you come to my house or your house, so breaking you require punches, you require witnesses, you require evidence. In a judge's house, if you break a locked door, you require a whole amount of recording. If it is not locked, then it's a totally different ballgame and gives credence to the judge's defense. So I think we need to hasten slowly, we meaning the committee, and make sure. Then again,
are you suggesting somewhere that you see a setup? Was the judge set up? Could there be other forces behind it? Could there be fixers involved? No, let's be clear, because lots of theories are swirling around.
I have seen the same memes in the same social media which you have. And like you, I will not be irresponsible to start mouthing or parroting what I have seen or read. I think the jury is out on a lot of issues, but certainly the core issues are vital for the independence of the judiciary, for the integrity and reputation of a judge who's otherwise been blemishless on his judicial conduct on the bench, and also for the system. Because, there is a totally open place. Where is the inventarization? Where is the Panchanama? These are things you do for a normal 100 rupee, 1000 rupee theft. So these are things which this committee is best empowered. I don't have access, you don't have access.
No, do you fear, let me push you a bit, do you fear it? Are you not ruling out, are you saying you are not ruling out the possibility that Justice Varma was set up?
I wouldn't use the word set up, but I would say that I am not ruling out the possibility that he is totally unaware or uninvolved, unless these disturbing questions are answered one way or the other. It's obvious on just two questions.
No, so then who would be involved then?
That's another matter of inquiry. It could be a setup. It need not be a setup. It could be people who have been doing something else there and, have been caught and have done some burning, etc. It could be a number of things. I mean, this is pure speculation, but certainly these are questions because there is the problem I find is a opacity about the fire brigade and the police. Now, I am not saying there is opacity because that might be available to the committee, but in the public domain, the alacrity with which direct evidence like a video was shared is not the same alacrity with which the police version and the fire version has been shared. Now, these are two vital things. So there are four vital things. Open or closed door, if locked, how broken, video, Panchanama, witnesses, inventarization. And where is the cash? Even burnt cash, where is it kept? Can it be counted to a certain extent? These are only committee matters. So I think they should be very careful and there should be no knee-jerk reaction in just, gloating. All of us in this society, unfortunately today, we have great fun when somebody else is in trouble. I don't believe in that. In fact, quite frankly, I kept away from
it's not gloating. My final question to you is simply this. It's not gloating. I think what the media and others are asking is that there is a fear that judicial corruption has reached some of the higher reaches of our judiciary. We hear a lot of speculation over it, about how judges, about bench fixing and worse. Given all of that, do you concede that what has happened has naturally led people to believe maybe their worst fears are being proven true? That's the problem.
Absolutely. I would go to the extent of saying that you are, Rajdeep, using words of studied moderation. I mean, today, I'm not talking of this case. And these kind of cases fuel that perception. Having spent a lifetime, when we started practice, there would be in hushed tones a mention that sometimes this percentage of so-and-so district judge has this problem. As time went by, we started hearing of High Court judges. As time goes on further, we hear of Supreme Court judges. So perceptions are very important for the integrity of the system, and I agree with you entirely. This kind of thing shakes the very root and the foundations. So I'm not taking it lightly, but I'm just saying, be thorough, and these are very good three judges, chief justices, etc. I'm sure they will follow that process, and then be transparent, be thorough, and then be transparent. Thereafter, if they start hiding things, there'll be a big problem.
Can I therefore ask you in conclusion, does the political class, Parliament have any role at this stage, or is Parliament also jumping the gun? Is the chairman playing to the gallery by saying, I'm holding this all-party meeting? Why does Parliament have any role at all?
Two things. Parliament's role in a discussion model cannot be questioned. Parliament can discuss. There is an article in the Constitution which does not allow the conduct of a judge in court to be discussed in Parliament, and reciprocally, Parliament's conduct within the House not to be discussed by the judiciary. But that doesn't apply for corruption cases. So discussion is absolutely available and kosher. But equally, I don't think knee-jerk reactions that we will press a button and change clearly a stigmatized collegium into, or rather not too successful collegium, into a brand new shining NJAC. And by that press of button, you'll start having shining good judges. I don't subscribe to that view.
Okay.
I would not. I would say before you shift all that, you must think carefully. You must see that executive interference in the judiciary is equally minimized. And you must see ultimately, it's the source which has to be good and pure. When I select you and I select a good man, then it will have an effect down the line. So it's the selection process which has to be done properly. And I don't think a press button away from the collegium into NJAC or from NJAC to the collegium is going to make that easily a difference. It's the wisdom and the nuance of how you select.
Let me leave it there, Dr. Singhvi. You've given us your perspective. You've broken your silence. It's interesting how more and more senior lawyers are now finally speaking out on the case. I hope that many of you join in a wider public discussion which is needed on the state of our higher judiciary. I appreciate you joining us, Dr. Singhvi, there on that big story that we've been tracking. At this moment, we're also getting some breaking news. A big political story is happening at this moment because the AIADMK chief and former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palanisamy has met Home Minister Amit Shah a short while ago. The AIADMK is now reportedly in alliance talks with the BJP ahead of Tamil Nadu elections next year. Remember, Tamil Nadu goes to the polls in March next year. The two sides did not fight the Lok Sabha elections together, which is why there is speculation. Is E. Palanisamy, his visit to Amit Shah, suggesting BJP and AIADMK could fight the elections together? Pramod Madhav, my colleague from Chennai, is joining me at this moment. Pramod, what are you picking up? Because during the Lok Sabha, Annamalai, the leader of the Tamil Nadu BJP, made it clear no truck with the Dravida parties. Now we are seeing these pictures. Is there a real possibility of a BJP-AIADMK alliance?
There is quite a real possibility right now because earlier it was speculated for more than 6 months ago. AIADMK very clearly mentioned that he will not have any kind of alliance with BJP, and that's how he also faced the parliament elections. But however, for the past 1 month, he has actually softened his stance. He has said that whatever talks needs to be done about the alliance, it will be only conducted during the next year, maybe 2 months before election of such. And right now, it was a surprise visit by the opposition leader, as this visit happened amidst the assembly that is happening currently. And in fact, the chief minister also took a dig at it, saying that we all know that opposition leader is going to Delhi, and we also know that he's going to meet a prominent person. So it seems that the dice has started to roll, Jagdeep.
Where does this leave Annamalai? Because Annamalai has become the face of the TN BJP and he's been against the AIADMK. Now, I don't see him in any of the pictures. Is this being now done at the level of Amit Shah, with Annamalai possibly having to just accept it, swallow and accept it?
Well, one thing is very clear. AIADMK has made it very clear that he is the leader of AIADMK and he will be the leader of opposition party in the state of Tamil Nadu, because that is what Annamalai did not agree upon. He said that Annamalai said that BJP will be the leading force, but AIADMK did not agree to it. So right now it looks like probably BJP has come down a bit and said that probably they should have to go and look about on this also. Definitely it's going to be not in favor of Annamalai, Rajdeep.
Okay. We'll wait and see how that goes, but clearly the BJP is showing an element of flexibility. One day your adversaries, next day your allies, Palanisamy and the AIADMK have been NDA allies, and elections coming close could well mean realignment in Tamil Nadu. Pramod Madhav joining me there from Chennai with the very latest. Chennai, where controversial Tamil YouTuber Savukku Shankar is back in controversy. Savukku alleges that a gang broke into his home, threw sewage in the kitchen and bedroom, and later threatened him over a video call while his mother was alone. And he is claiming that he is being targeted because he is exposing corruption in the DMK Congress government in Tamil Nadu. Pramod Madhav has more.
Sewage and shit in kitchen and bedroom. Vandalism and threat. This video was put out by Tamil YouTuber Savukku Shankar. He claims that a gang broke into his home, threatened his mother, all because he exposed an alleged sanitation scam in the state. He has blamed Tamil Nadu Congress chief for the attack.
After this incident happened, I learnt that all those people were sent by TNCC President Mr. K. Selva Perundahai. The reason Mr. Selva Perundahai is angry on me is that I have exposed a huge scam in the delivering of vehicles in the Dalit entrepreneur scheme.
Police sources say the intruders claimed that they were offended by Shankar's alleged derogatory remarks about sanitation workers in one of his videos. The case has now been transferred to the CBCID. The Tamil Nadu Congress president, meanwhile, has rejected the allegations.
I am condemning this incident, should not allow violence anywhere. But what way I am connected? You tell the police, you tell the court what happened.
So why is he blaming you, sir?
He is having hidden agenda. His hidden agenda is high expectation.
Why you of all politicians, sir? Why are you targeted by Savukku Shankar?
He targeted everyone.
AIADMK Palanisamy has hit out at the DMK government, accusing it of intolerance. Saugat-e-Modi Shankar has been a vocal critic of the DMK. He was arrested under the Gundas Act twice last year. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now on our big story, free speech under threat across India. Is sponsored violence being normalized? Will civil society stand up to political thugs? The questions that we are raising. Bharat Dabolkar, senior advertising professional from Mumbai, theatre artist, someone in the past has been seen close to the Shiv Sena. Sameer Soni is actor and director. Tushar Gandhi is activist and great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. He's in fact put out a petition, letter petition, protesting against the Maharashtra government on this issue. Sumant C. Raman is Chennai-based political analyst. I appreciate all of you joining us. I want to come to you, Tushar Gandhi, because you and others in Mumbai have drafted a petition condemning the Maharashtra government for allowing the thugs to get away. Now, you seem to be among the very few voices in public life speaking out. Most people in Mumbai, particularly the celebrities, don't want to say a word.
Yeah, Rajdeep, I don't have to worry because I live in a rented apartment, so the threat of the bulldozer won't work on me, and I'm not afraid of goons, so that threat also doesn't deter me. So I can afford to raise my voice against such kind of muscle man attitude that has become a very it's become a normal habit of people in power. When they can't do what really matters, they resort to such thuggery to establish their dominance and show off their strength. It's reprehensible trend.
But why do you think? No, but why do you think so many people are not? Why do you think celebrities and many Mumbaikars are unwilling to speak out? Is it the fear factor at the end of the day? People fear that if it is Kunal Kamra tomorrow, if they come out in his support, they will be targeted next?
Yes, it is definitely the fear factor because we see that hate, abuse, uncouth language, when it is used by politicians, even the legal process is not done against them. But if an ordinary citizen raises their voice, then they are brutalized, they are traumatized, and they're terrorized. These are terror tactics. These are urban terrorists working under the patronage of the government of the day.
Okay, let me come to you, Sameer Soni, for a moment. I know you don't want to refer to specific political parties. I take your point, but the fact is that I find very few. I tried today to speak to stand-up comedians to join the show, to actors to join the show. Everyone said, please don't involve me in this. We don't want to get involved. Now, if you don't get involved and speak, then the Shiv Sena or the thugs who are responsible for these activities in Mumbai even get more emboldened. Why is it that so many of you who are in the celebrity world of Mumbai never speak up?
Rajdeep, I can't speak for other people, what their reason is. Either they're scared, they're not sure. But as far as I'm concerned, I think freedom of speech, or right to speech, is a very ambiguous and an extremely powerful right you have. You know, I mean, with a lot of freedom comes a lot of power, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. Which means if you want to say something, you have to be sure what you're saying, where you're saying, and when you're saying. That's just the basic thing. So the big thing comes in, where does
but does that justify violence? Sameer, there is one part where freedom of speech you say is ambiguous. What is unambiguous is the violence. Private property being demolished simply because a stand-up comedian did an act in a hotel studio. Surely that's where you should draw the line. Tomorrow it could be a film set.
Okay. No, okay. Like I was saying that I have my own circle of freedom. And how do we know that I touch your circle of freedom? And that's where, the contradiction starts. And as far as the reaction is concerned, who is to say who is enraged how? I mean, and you know very well the fact that if a lot of YouTubers or, people who engage people in YouTube and stuff like that, they make these comments about politicians, about film stars, because they want to get a reaction. And that's in that lies the fun of it. That you crack a joke at the PM or VPPM or an actor, and everybody has a big laugh. But when you push something, you will get a pushback. You have
the pushback cannot involve violence, Amit.
And why I am not involved is
the pushback cannot involve violence. There must be a
no.
line.
I'm not. Look, no. Exactly. I know, but who and what is the line?
Okay.
You know very well. A few years back, there was this spokesperson for a certain party who referred to the prophet of a certain community. And people took offense to that, and she was banned from the party for the next 2-3 years. So when this comes to these kind of things, where do you draw the line? It's always between have and have-nots. The people who have the power, they will react as harshly, as softly as they can. And it's for the law and the judge to take its own course. But to me, is that if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. You have no business being there. Because you know the country you live in. You didn't think that you will talk about so-and-so, and nothing's going to happen to you. Whether what they did is not right and was overdone, I will not debate that at all, because that's for the law to decide.
Okay, I want to bring in Bharat Dabolkar at this point. Samir Soni saying, how are we going to draw the line that if you're in the field of stand-up comedy, you want a response from politicians. Sometimes politicians respond, they get enraged and resort to what I call Thokshahi, or we know as Thokshahi. Bharat Dabolkar, you interestingly used to do satire all those years ago. Do you approve of what the Shiv Sena did yesterday?
No, I'll tell you what, Rajdeep, I can answer your question in two ways. For the last 35 years or more, I have been doing political satires where I've made fun of politicians, I've made fun of prime ministers, heads of different parties, and I've done that all over the country, all over the world. And I've never got into trouble because I know where the Lakshman Resha is. You don't get personal. You make fun of a politician, which is allowed. I don't think it's a crime to make fun of a politician. But you don't get personal. You don't toe the line of another political party to make fun of somebody else. I've done that for 35 years. I've done it more than
but how can that justify violence? No, Bharat Dabolkar, I'm sorry. I am talking, you see, if what you're saying, that you know where to draw the line, I've not got personal. Are you telling me if someone gets personal, then you have the right to go and smash the hotel studio?
I think his action was wrong, but the reaction was wronger. I don't think anybody has the right to go and smash a studio or file an FIR. You can reprimand him. You can't do the kinds of things that the Shiv Sena people have done. That's completely wrong. Okay. I don't agree with that. But I am a lawyer, and I know Constitution more than most of these people who keep on flashing the copies of Constitution. That in Constitution, with your fundamental right to say what you want to say, there's a proviso that says, we have a famous saying that says, your right to wave your hand ends where the other man's cheek begins. You have a restriction on your fundamental rights. You can't misuse that. You can't say, I have a freedom to say what I want to say. You don't have that freedom.
Okay. I want to bring in Sumant Raman at this moment because Sumant, all the focus has been on Mumbai. And what has been diluted in the process is what happened in Chennai, where a YouTuber claims that his house was also ransacked. Now, there is an argument of selective outrage, that the liberals outrage because the Shiv Sena is the culprit in Mumbai, don't outrage because the DMK and the Congress are being accused of using their goons to target a YouTuber. How do you respond to this argument of selective outrage?
Outrage tends to be targeted at whoever you want to target, so therefore it is quite selective. But Rajdeep, I'm sort of a little surprised and saddened at what I've heard. There is freedom of speech which is guaranteed under the Constitution, but very, very importantly, the only limits that have been set on the freedom of speech can be enforced only by the state, not by somebody. If you feel offended, you cannot go and do the enforcement yourself. That is why if somebody was offended by Kunal Kamra, the solution would have been to go to court, not to go and vandalize the studio. So I think that people are missing the point here. Nobody is saying that freedom of speech is unrestricted I agree that there have to be reasonable restrictions. But the only entity that can restrict that freedom, according to our constitution, if you believe in our constitution, is the state. It can't
but that's
be
true of Tamil
random
Nadu as much as
lumpen
Maharashtra.
elements taking the law
That's
into
true
their
as
own
much
hands.
of Maharashtra. That's true of Tamil Nadu as much as Maharashtra.
And the manner. Let me complete this. What has happened to Saugat-e-Shankar is an appalling incident. Now let me tell you, these people who attacked his house did not even bother to conceal themselves. They are on video. At least in the Maharashtra Kunal Kamra incident, an FIR has been filed, 11 people have been arrested. Okay, they have got bail, whatever, they have been produced before a magistrate. In Chennai, till I last heard, there is no FIR. Forget calling these people for inquiry or arresting them. And there is forget the police having to identify them. Public have identified them. No action is taken. Across India, it is the same story, irrespective of whichever party is in power. When in the opposition, you will fight for freedom of speech. And when you become the ruling party, you will trample. See what Revant Reddy has done, government has done with those lady journalists in Telangana. Make no mistake, there is no BJP, no Congress, no DMK, no Shiv Sena. They are all the same and they care two hoots for your freedom of speech if they are criticized. Period.
Okay. I want to at this moment, Samir Soni, you wanted to respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to respond to Sumanji that what he's saying is more of a matter of law, the policing. You're responsible for your action if you break law, which is vis-a-vis destroying property. Surely you should have to be held by, for it. And it's got nothing to do with freedom of speech. So that's true across the border. So I don't know why that is so relevant in this particular case. And
it's relevant. It's relevant in this particular case because I had on my show the Shiv Sena Yuva Sena leader who led the mob, Rahul Kunal, yesterday, and he was happy to take responsibility. Now, if you are going to take responsibility happily for a violent act, that suggests an element of impunity. But beyond a point you can't be touched. FIR will be filed, you'll be arrested, you'll wave to the crowd and get bail the next morning.
Yeah,
or the same evening.
Completely wrong. That is not allowed. That's completely wrong.
Or in Tamil Nadu's case, no FIR also.
Rajdeep.
Right. Yes, Samir.
No, listen, Rajdeep. When you say these people, they come on TV and they take glory on it or feel great about it, don't you inside feel guilty about that? Because you take these odd incidents and make it nationwide.
No, I believe they should be exposed.
I mean, couple of weeks back,
I'm not giving a platform. I want to expose them. The country must know.
You're not
that there are people.
No. It is. No, Rajdeep, what you're doing is selective exposure. You're taking some random guy who was having a beverage and some chicken in a place he shouldn't be doing it and became national news. He feels like a hero. I feel stupid watching it, talking about him. Is there a national issue that someone had a beer or chicken somewhere?
No. It is no. 1 minute.
Likewise, this. I mean, who is this?
No. I'm sorry.
No. 1 minute. Who it is? The fact is that in Mumbai, which is India's herbs prima city, brand Mumbai, brand Maharashtra, brand India takes a hit when something like this happens. But just a minute, I want to make it very clear that stand-up comedians in particular are soft targets. Jokes are no laughing matter. Right to free speech, remember, is enshrined with reasonable restrictions under Article 19. But what is happening now is my right to take offense. We are easily offended and many stand-up comedians therefore become particularly vulnerable. In March 2025, Shiv Sainiks vandalized a club over Kunal Kamra. But that's not the only time. February 2025, Ranveer Allahabad, other YouTubers were then called out for vulgarity, which I believe was important in its sense, but again raised questions over where does free speech lines be drawn. November 2021, Veer Das, celebrated stand-up, was booked after his show Two Indias in Washington, D.C., targeted politicians across the board. In January 2021, it went worse. Munawar Farooqi was jailed for 1 month for his jokes on Hindu deities. In May 2016, and on Amit Shah, May 2016, Tanbai Bhatt was under fire for mocking Lata Mangeshkar and Sachin Tendulkar. In January 2016, Kiku Sharda was arrested for mimicking Dera Sacha Sauda chief. he got bail after the Dera chief forgave him. You see, this is the problem at the moment. Tushar Gandhi, we've been hearing, as was just suggested by Sumant Raman, that it's happening in Chennai, there's no FIR. Do you believe that liberals need to be very clear? Zero tolerance irrespective of who is in power. Whether it's a Mamta Banerjee who arrests a cartoonist for a Facebook post on her, whether it's now the DMK in the dock or the Shiv Sena in Maharashtra. Anyone who misuses power must be questioned.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Rajdeep, I don't agree with this accusation that liberals are selective. Liberals always raise their voice. There are certain issues which where the voices are louder and are picked up. In other issues, you speak about them and nobody bothers. We can't tar all liberals saying they are selective. Liberals, in its actual philosophy, are across the spectrum. They don't care. Anybody does wrong or anybody uses radical methods are criticized, and it happens.
So you're saying you condemn Tamil Nadu as much as you condemn Mumbai?
I condemn Revant Reddy, I condemn Tamil Nadu, I condemn everywhere where people are targeted because there are no limits on freedom of speech. If somebody criminally
because remember Mr. Gandhi, for decades Bal Thackeray, when he was Supremo, Tokshahi was normalized even then. So the fact is, it's now, you say one thing when you're in opposition, one thing when you're in government. Bharat Dabolkar, do you agree with this philosophy that we are being selective, or do you think that it's very clear? Anyone who resorts to violence must be condemned. Why should Kunal Kamra be the one condemned? The condemnation should be on the violence.
I think Kunal Kamra was wrong, but I think Shiv Sena, which vandalized his property, were more wrong than Kunal Kamra was. You can react, as somebody said, you can go to the court, but you can't get into beating up people, you can't get into destroying
property. So why is that happening?
Why
is that happening? Rahul Kunal came on my show yesterday and said, I get emotional. Is that an argument?
But Rajdeep, that is happening with every political party. A girl called Ketki was jailed because she said something against the NCP Supremo of that time. Somebody was jailed because somebody said, I'll come and chant Hanuman Chalisa outside your house. So every party is wrong. It's not just Shiv Sena. I think whether it's BJP, Shiv Sena, DMK, all the parties, they are so sensitive about things that they let their goons go into whatever they want to do and no one restricts them. I think the fault lies with the leaders of these parties.
You know, the fault lies also with our policing system, Sumant Raman, because as you said, Chennai hasn't filed an FIR as yet, at least at the time when we were doing this show. In Mumbai too, the police is seen to virtually follow whatever the government wants. And where you stand in Indian politics depends on where you sit. Today, Aditya Thackeray is the one condemning thuggery. And yet, remember, it was the Shiv Sena which started Tokshahi.
Rajdeep, the other important thing you should remember is many of these stand-up comics have criticized people across the political spectrum. And very often, I'll give you an example. In this case, this is not a stand-up comic, but was one of the fiercest critics of the previous AIADMK government when it was in power. When the DMK came to power, he started attacking the DMK government. And the same DMK leaders were lapping up his videos when they were in the opposition, suddenly had their guns out for him. So I think this level of hypocrisy, saying that you cannot criticize, you cannot level charges, you cannot make jokes or make fun of us. I mean, we've heard of people, you know, the famous cartoonist R.K. Lakshman and his cartoons on Pandit Nehru and Indira Gandhi, and we've heard about the relationship that Mr. I think Shekhar Suman had recited a very nice story about how he used to, make fun of Mr. Vajpayee, and Mr. Vajpayee had a huge laugh about it. There was a video today of Mr. Lalu Yadav enjoying somebody making fun of him. I mean, this is something that is noted and put out as comedy. If you don't like it, you feel it's defamatory, go to court.
Maybe our politicians, Mr. Sumant,
vandalism is not
maybe our politicians have become more intolerant. You know, the Vajpayee era that you refer to was an era where politicians had a higher sort of tolerance quotient. I want to tell our viewers, I once criticized Bala Sahib Thackeray Shiv Sainiks came to my office, black flags, black ink. I had to move through the back door. But a month later, Bal Thackeray called me and asked me to have a warm beer with him. So he was ready at the end of the day to accept perhaps that, criticism. He was a cartoonist himself. And the truth of the matter is, maybe in that generation, politicians were more willing to accept criticism. Now in the age of social media, our politicians have become far more prickly. You agree with that, Sameer Soni? Could you do a film, you think, lampooning politicians today? Sameer, could you do a program on TV?
Do a program on TV about what?
About lampooning politicians. Do you think you could get away with it today?
I can't. Look, okay, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I won't. But let's not digress. This is, if you take this, what is happening right now has been happening for years and years and years, right? Because the fine line that separates with what is okay and acceptable is so fine. You never know when you are stepping on somebody's toes. And what happens is you're constantly pushing the envelope to find out where does that line lie. And you get pushbacks. Similarly, we didn't have digital stuff. We did not have stand-up comedians earlier. So they're pushing and they're getting the pushbacks. And very soon this will settle down to a different thing. For example, when you and I were in school, if we didn't do our homework, a teacher would come and, slap us with a ruler or something. Today it would be considered child abuse. Things have changed. We do change. We accept the new normal, what happens. That's how societies are built.
You make a good... I take your point with only one caveat. One thing which is unacceptable is violence. Think about today. I want each and every one of you to think about the hotel studio owner. Please think about him. It's very easy for us to sit in a TV studio and comment on the fine lines. He deserves compensation, in my view. He should be given compensation. And remember, Devendra Fadnavis, when he was in the opposition, had defended Kangana Ranaut and said, follow the law of the land. The same Devendra Fadnavis, now in government, says it is the Shiv Sainiks who defends the Shiv Sainiks and targets Kunal Kamra. Where you stand in Indian politics depends on where you sit. And that's part of the problem, just many of the problem. Yes, Tushar Gandhi, I'll give you a final word, 30 seconds.
They sent a bulldozer to the venue where Kunal Kamra shot his show. But on Juhu Beach, there's a prominent illegal building which has been declared illegal and demolition orders have been issued. But because it belongs to Narayan Rane, the bulldozer doesn't find the road there. That is selective vandalism. That is selective politics. That is politics of vendetta, and that has to be opposed strongly. No excuses can be made. I'm sorry, but most of these people over here have been making apologies to condone violence. That can't be accepted.
I agree with you entirely. Violence cannot be condoned. Whatever your provocation, find a better way to express yourself. That is where the line has to be drawn. I want to see the Maharashtra government now compensating the hotel studio owner. You want to build brand Mumbai, brand Maharashtra, brand India, walk the talk and really show that law and order is being maintained by you and not being outsourced to street thugs who are being sponsored by a political party. Think about it. Let me turn to an only in India story. It's happy hour literally in Uttar Pradesh. Liquor vends in India's most populous state are offering huge discounts. Buy one bottle, take one. Listen in to our only in India story.
There is a mad rush outside liquor vends in Uttar Pradesh. Shops are offering heavy discounts and 1+1 schemes. The reason is that the current liquor licenses expire on March 31st.
सुबह से इतनी भीड़ है जैसे कि राशन की दुकान पे भीड़ होती है. लोग राशन पे कम है, दारू की ठेके पे ज्यादा है, क्योंकि एक के साथ एक फ्री, एक पेटी के साथ एक पेटी फ्री.
व्यवस्था बननी चाहिए. इस टाइप से अगर करती है तो इनकी व्यवस्था बननी चाहिए. आप देखो ना कैसे मारामारी का माहौल है, अफरा तफरी का माहौल. ये आज सुबह से है और कह रहे हैं 31 तारीख तक ये ऑफर है.
The traders have urged the government to allow them to sell off their current stocks.
31 मार्च के बाद में जो अनुज्ञापी है वो माल को रख नहीं सकता. अगर वो माल को रखेगा तो बिना लाइसेंस के रखेगा, जो कि अपने आप में अपराध होगा. तो अब इस असमंजस को बचाने के लिए अपना जो भी लॉस हो रहा है उसको कम से कम करने के लिए मजबूरी में जो लाइसेंसीज हैं वो इसको डिस्काउंट रेट पे बेच रहे हैं। अब वो मार्च महीने का कोटा नहीं उठाएंगे तो उन पे पेनाल्टी लग जाएगी, सिक्योरिटी का उनका पैसा भी जब्त हो जाएगा। तो अब वो दोनों तरफ से मार झेल रहे हैं।
Till the time UP government gives reliefs to vendors, it is happy hours for drinkers. Bureau Report, India Today.
What should one say? Hic, hic, hooray. Or maybe if I say that, someone will get offended. Okay, let me leave you with our image of the day. The BJP today launched the Saugat-e-Modi initiative, which they claim is going to benefit 32 lakh underprivileged Muslims who will receive special kits to celebrate Eid. This includes food items, clothes, vermicelli, dates, dry fruits and sugar. BJP says it's their way to reach out to the Muslim community ahead of Eid. That's a good sign. Maybe they could do more. That, of course, is the subject of a debate on another day. For now, those are good images to see. Festivals must be celebrated across communities. That's the spirit of India. Thanks for watching. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.